Hey everybody, in this video we're back in Yazoo City, Mississippi. I visited here a few years ago and I got some nice images, and I really hadn't planned to come back, but this is where I got the most reasonable price on a hotel room, so I made this my home base and hub on my latest trip to the Mississippi Delta. Yazoo City is a funny name, but Mississippi is chock full of place names that originated from Native American words, mostly from the language of the Choctaw, the Chickasaw, the Caddo, and the Seminole people. Places like Idabina, Tupelo, Tallahala, Natchez, Biloxi, Pascagoula, and Tumsuba, and many, many others. We're walking here on South Main Street in Yazoo City. The street has two sections, and around that bend it's still active and thriving, and on this end it's abandoned and quickly turning into urban ruins. Now this is a walking around video, and like the Mississippi Delta, which moves at a slower pace than most places, this video has some slow, lingering clips where I walk around. This is how I discover subject matter on any photo trip, and I just wanted to bring you along and show you how it feels. Hope you don't find that too boring, but I'll try to spice it up with some facts and some stories. There was a big fire in Yazoo City in 1904 that burned down 27 blocks, if you can believe that. A total of 324 buildings were burned down. So all of these old historic buildings were built in 1904 or later. There's an old local legend that blames the fire on a witch's curse, which I think is really interesting, but from what I've read, it actually started in someone's parlor. I've seen this in several cities. When a building is removed, they use the gap as an event space. This one is in need of a lot of TLC though. That's a stage up front. I love seeing this old-fashioned tile work left over from when this was a retail shop. This old Coca-Cola wall ad is similar to one made famous in a photograph by William Christenberry many years ago. I thought if I could research the dates when the price of Coca-Cola was 5 cents, I would get a rough idea of how old this big wall ad might be. But guess what? Coke kept the price at 5 cents for 73 years. Yes, you heard that right. The price of a bottle of Coke was 5 cents from 1886 until 1959. Coke had advertised itself at 5 cents so pervasively, even on the packaging, that to change the price would have been very expensive, even repainting all these wall ads all over the country. Plus, they had a lot of vending machines that took a nickel, but raising the price to a dime would have meant doubling the price. Believe it or not, the Coca-Cola company tried to get the U.S. Treasury to make a 7.5-cent coin in 1953, just so they could raise the price on vending machines to 7.5 cents, but the government declined to make that new coin. This is the old Bank of Yazoo City, established in 1876. The building was constructed in 1904 after the big fire in downtown. This bank starred as the Bank of Idabina in a scene from the Coen brothers movie, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? It's a classic movie and one of my favorites. In the movie, you see the front and the interior of the bank. It's the babyface Nelson scene. And here's an innovation added onto the bank later. Drive-through banking. Yazoo City is home to a lot of these great old Ironworks storefronts from a variety of manufacturers. Most of these are made in St. Louis, but some of them are from other cities as well. When I was photographing these ruins on my last trip to Yazoo City in 2019, a white-haired old gentleman came out of one of the buildings to find out who I was and what I was up to. I'm not sure if he was curious or suspicious or both. Once he was comfortable with me and that I was not a malefactor, he told me some stories about the town. He said his brother was an attorney who had recently passed away and that he had been sorting through his paperwork in his office across the street when he saw me outside shooting pictures. He said his sister-in-law had once owned the abandoned Ford dealership down the street. We'll see that soon. I'll point it out to you, or what's left of it. Hope that old guy's okay. He was probably in his mid-80s at least when I saw him. That train horn is a reminder that time keeps rolling along. I want to make it clear that I focus on the abandoned and derelict places in every town I go to, and Yazoo City has a lot of that. It's in worse shape than the last time I was here. But all of these places, including Yazoo City, have really nice parts of town as well. I feel like I might be misrepresenting some of these places as though they are just ruins only, but that's not the case. Okay, now I'm going to use a mix of Google Street View and my old archival footage mixed in with new footage to show you the changes here. This is the area we just examined. That's the view toward the part of Main Street that still functions. Those two buildings are now demolished. Here I'm circling a piece of ironwork that we will look at in detail momentarily. Here's my archival footage of those two buildings. And there's the space now, just vacant lots with rubble. This is a column made by George L. Mesker and Company, made in Evansville, Indiana. It's all that's left. I hope the other ironwork was salvaged and not just hauled away to the dump. Now we're back on Street View, looking across the street. That building with the balconies was of particular interest to me before. I made 2 photographs that I loved. It's very reminiscent of New Orleans, which is about 200 miles further south. Back to the present, that's what's left of this block. It appears that a tornado or some kind of storm has blown through here recently. It's hard to see it on video, but there's a desk and chair sitting back in there still. This vacant lot is where the New Orleans style building once stood. And this was the old Ford dealership that I mentioned earlier. This street view shows what the dealership looked like before the storm. It's not a great piece of historic architecture, but it includes the loss of this awesome old ghost sign, which is a shame. Look at all the layers in that. Man, it's sad that we lost that. I've mentioned in previous videos that I'm intrigued by these steps that once led up to the front yards of houses, but now it's just overgrown, no houses left, only steps to nowhere. Here are some photos I shot previously when the light was a little softer. Well, if you stuck around this long, thank you. Our final stop is this amazing old iron bridge overgrown with ivy. Thanks for watching, everybody. Be sure to visit my website, keithdotson.com.